Hi, welcome to episode 5 of the HTML and CSS course. In this episode, we'll introduce you to the HTML content model. And before the video starts, I want to introduce myself. My name is Samuel, and I'm part of the ECDE Foundation. It stands for Every Child Deserves Education. And we produce high quality educational videos, so make sure to check it out and subscribe.
I'm Ronald, and I'm another instructor for this course, and I also belong to the ECDE Foundation.
So first, what does the content model means? Content model refers to a behavior the browser applies to the element belonging to that content model.
Currently, HTML5 has 7 different models. However, I will just be covering 2 traditional and most important models, since I don't want to get things too complicated. 2 basic content models are inline contents and block level contents. Block level element is basically the flow element shown in a diagram, and the inline contents are the phrasing element.
First, let's look at block level element, which is a div tag. And block level element will take up a whole space in that line. In other words, it will render to begin on a new line by default.
You might think this is confusing, but let's look at some examples.
Yeah, so as you can see here, I have a first div tag. So let's say this is div number 1, and then I'll create another div tag, and then it says this is div number 2.
And as you can see in the code, we have 2 div tags and some content in them. So the content is, this is div number 1 and this is div number 2.
Yeah, so let's look at how it will show on the website. So here you can see this is div number 1. It shows on one line, and then this is div number 2, shows on another line. So yeah, the second div content is directly below the first div content, because both of the div content are supposed to take up the whole row. So what I mean by row is the whole blank space right here from the beginning to the end. And since our content is not that long, you can see that even though our content doesn't actually take up the whole row, 2 div contents are still stacked upon one another like this.
Well, next, let's take a look at inline elements. Inline elements are supposed to render on the same line by default. Pretty straightforward, right? Everything will follow one another from left to right.
Yes,
Samuel will now demonstrate some examples.
Okay, so yeah, let's look at some example. So first, we have a span, and we'll call it, this is span number 1. And then we'll have another span. It's called, this is span number 2. And then if you save this and look at the website, you'll see something like this. So here you can see, not like div tag, now the span tag is on the same line. It doesn't take up the whole row. So the span number 1 doesn't stack on step number 2. They both on the same line, and it doesn't take up a whole row.
Here's a question for today's episode. So the question is, without applying any additional styles, the following code snippet will show up in the browser as how many lines of text. Assume the browser is stretched wide enough not to cause any single line to wrap. So is it A, 1 line, B, 2 lines, C, 3 lines, or D, 4 lines?
So you guys can pause the video and do a question. Then when you guys finish answering, just continue watching the video. So the answer will be D, 4 lines. So as you can see, right here, the first div element basically take up the whole row. So it forces the next span element need to move to the next row. And so as you can see right here, the span element is on row 2. And then because div element will always take out the whole row, so it cannot be combined with the span element right here. So it moves to its own row, which is row 3. And same, the span number 2 is forced to row 4 because the div already take up the whole row 3. And yeah, that's all for today's episode. See you guys in the next episode.